Okay, are we ready? Okay, call this meeting to order for Public Works Standing Committee for Monday, June 8th, 2026. Approve the meeting minutes for the last time we met, which was May 9th of 2026, so thinking back a little ways. Can I get a motion to approve?
I move to approve.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Public Works update from our Public Works.
Okay, start with stormwater. I think last time I talked to you, we hadn't got the manhole in up at, Coal Miners Park. That's been put in, and also on stormwater, we're doing some, cleaning out some of the retention areas on the golf course. Those have been completed. The water project, has been, it started on the, can't remember what day now, a couple weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. We've had quite a few changes to that. I'm going to try and bring you up to speed really quick. Originally, we had 2 blocks. We had a total of 5 blocks of 17 that, according to our records, were all cast iron pipe. When we got into the 2 blocks right off Broadway, we discovered that those had been replaced. We have no paperwork on it. Turns out we found a former employee with a good memory who was here in the 80s. In 1981, they were replaced as a result of a Giardi breakout. So,
Oh my
you
gosh.
may remember that.
It's all coming back to us. Crazy.
So
Oh my
we took those, we had half a block, we were into it. We took those 2 blocks out of the project because they were good ductile iron pipe. We found another error in a record drawing from 2008 on 13th Street, another block that we decided not to tie back in. It was in the ground, but in 2008 they had disconnected it because there's no services on it, and it was a 4-inch cast iron line. So rather than replace that, we took that out of the project and we added in 3 blocks on Adams, which are cast iron and probably lead goosenecks on service lines. So a little switcheroo. We're still working out the numbers, but I think it's all going to fall within what's budgeted. Partly because we came in, the bids came in pretty good, competitive. We had good bids for that project. Where the water project's going next, we just got our floodplain permit today, which was a little behind schedule, but we're going to start on Park probably tomorrow, and then the crew's going to finish up on 19th, 17th, and 16th. We're working now, and I'm not sure they're going to ship down the 7th or 8th or 9th, or possibly, and I'm encouraging them to get 11th done well ahead of the 4th of July, because 11th goes from Broadway up to
the school.
Word. So
It's on the flight path of the parade as
yeah,
well.
no, I don't want that. I either want it to rearview
When they
mirror
come
by
back
the 4th or
around.
not touched by the 4th.
And the 1st, to be clear, not the 4th, the 1st is the...
Moving on to sewer, we're going to talk about the award bid for the sewer project. We had that project, and I don't know if everybody remembers, but we added to that project, so we had a pretty, we knew we were going to come in a little over budget, but we were taking stormwater reserves, some stormwater money to add in that stormwater pipe that the DEQ didn't want us tying stormwater inlets in the sewer. Those bids came out pretty competitive as well. They were, if we wouldn't have added all that stuff, we would have been way under budget. So it worked out good for us. And the recommendation we're going to look at here a little bit is to award all schedules and the bids. And Lonnie and I sat down and we have it all lined up for funding. Should work good. Streets EDA project, they've got Hagen from 2nd North brought up to subgrade, which means now the curb and gutter guys will come in and start pouring concrete. 2nd Street to subgrade. They're working their way down Hagen. They started milling plat today in preparation as they're gonna move down. Probably we won't see the concrete guys for another probably 10 days, and then the concrete crews will come in behind. Right now, they're taking it down, so we go down 18 inches to get a good base. We put in a geotextile fabric and a geogrid, and then build it back up and compact it. That takes the most time, so they have to have a big lead before the concrete guys come in, otherwise they'll catch up to them. So we'll probably see them in about 10 days. First city crew, we got sweepers out now.
Mike, can I ask you a question before we leave streets?
Yeah.
Did you come up with a final action plan on decisions on the vibration, the ultrasonic
Oh, yeah.
compacting?
We did. We had a resident who was very concerned about when we compact streets with vibration, it shakes things, and it was gonna damage her house. We were still away from her house. We did 2 separate areas, and one we used the vibration, and one we used a lot of water and just rolled it without the vibration, and then we tested the compaction on both sides, and we made specs. So when we go by her house, we're just gonna smooth roll it. We'll probably go back to vibration because it uses less water and it's faster. And then if we get some other people who are concerned, we'll go back to that because we know that we can accomplish the compaction by using water and non-vibratory compaction.
Thank you, sir.
Got the sweeper out. Guys been out doing potholes. We had the completion of our first sidewalk project that was with the incentive program. That was one at Roosevelt. I've got, I think, 5 or 6 more out there that are we're just waiting for their contractors and some paperwork to get done, but I don't know the exact number off the top of my head, but we probably spent maybe 25 to 30,000 of the 50.
On the Roosevelt deal.
No,
No.
no, total.
That's total, what we spent. Roosevelt, the city's half was $6,800.
Okay.
That was our biggest one so far, from what we have it's already approved and ready to go. And parks, talked about the parks board the other night. We had a little snafu with weed spraying in Van Dyke Park. Initially I talked to our contractor about spraying up there, and we looked at it and determined we just kind of had to hit it hard, and then maybe next year we can spot spray it. Then I talked to the county, who's been helping us out a lot, Jeff Firmus, and he looked at it and he thought he could do a fall spring with milestone, and it wouldn't be as hard on some of the native plants. That was my plan. I just forgot to get everybody lined out, and they got sprayed.
But you said
Killed everything.
mainly.
I know about that.
Everything's okay except the wildflowers. Is
Yeah,
that what you said?
they'll bounce back, I think. Let's see, what else do we have? We're gonna do a little project with disc golf, some maintenance with, use some of the parks project money for tee boxes and baskets. We met with the school and we changed the boundary of the school lease program, or boundary of the school lease ground, so that it does not include the new area for the new tennis courts, and also it cleans up the issue with disc golf, and that should be in the works soon. It's all should be surveyed now, and I can't read my notes. Oh,
And that's not going to, our understanding is that is not coming from city council, that's just the school board that has to approve that. That doesn't make sense to me, so we're still pushing back on it, but.
well, that's what Dennison's opinion on it, but I'll leave it up to the lawyer, I guess.
Maybe because we're getting more land back versus less, I don't know.
I know, because it's just leased, but
I know, but we're,
It's just
yeah.
changing the boundaries, though. We're buying the mower from the soccer folks, because we took over the mowing there, so we're having extra mower for parks. Willie's been out mowing, also been working on the pool, so I got a little behind on mowing. Pool opened Saturday, the mayor, I think, was there all day, he could probably tell us more, but my impression, talking to Jennifer and folks, is it went pretty good.
I was very happy. Public feedback was really, really good. Same yesterday, they did delay the opening this morning. It was a real-time call. This one, the number starts with 3. They said nobody's gonna come swimming laps. But they started it at 8, but the schedule is still somewhat open. Very happy about the deck operations, how that's set up and going. We still do have a position open for the pool house manager, but right now there's enough other folks down there with the skill set that they are able to cover that, and including a few volunteers, which is where I fall into that puzzle, that's been able to keep it up and going, so.
I think that's it. Any questions?
Okay, thank you so
Okay, I
much.
always have questions. Mike, do you ever thought about having summer help to help in the parks?
Yeah, this year I have, just because we've been taking on more the last 2 years. You know, I think when I got here, Willie just kind of mowed, and then we took on more mowing that were on all city property before that we were contracting out, paying for. So yeah, I mean, I think realistically, to be honest with you, having somebody in the summer that was like Willie's position, that would split streets and parks, we could keep them busy.
And then now you have that extra mower. That's what's made me think that would be.
And for the most part, like this time of year is just really rough with mowing, because some of the areas, you know, when we get moisture and they really sprout up, and if we hit them hard, then we really don't have to mow them very often after that. And all the park areas are growing fast this time of year, and they're starting up the pool.
Right.
So that's where we just get, but we're out of it now.
And you said you do have summer help right now?
No,
You
I
don't.
said if we had some, I could keep them busy for sure.
Well, let's do that next year.
Well,
You just have to approve the
What's the
budget for it.
budget? Yeah, how much is that?
Budget for it.
It's not gonna be huge, it's just for 3 months.
Just because we list the job doesn't necessarily mean we can hire somebody.
Well, I'm gonna press forward on this, because I would also think it'd be nice not to have someone that can be pulled away from parks to go to streets. So have a high school kid who has one job.
Well, Willie is pretty much just street.
Summer,
He is-
Yeah, but
He's
he's down there weed eating when some high school kid could do that. I could do that. I mean, but Willie.
Only as a volunteer, not as an employee.
Anyway, I just think that it'd be nice to have someone that's dedicated to parks next summer.
We have somebody dedicated.
I mean-
Willie is.
Yeah, that's his
Willie's
job.
100%.
I know
dedicated.
that. I'm talking about an extra person.
Okay, extra person, yeah, like I said.
Right. Okay,
We,
then,
we could keep, I don't know if I could, if I had an extra person, I would probably split that person.
Yeah, it's up to you, of course, but I just think it'd be nice to keep them on one job.
Well,
because it would all get done. If they had no talent except for weed eating.
Yeah, you don't wanna hire someone just to be.
Okay, we see what you're saying, no.
There's also age
Some help.
restrictions when it comes to using
Yeah.
power equipment that high school kids may not. meet
Well,
that
I'll find
criteria.
out what that is, and I'll report back. I'm sure
No,
it's 18. Like
the
one,
city knows
even
what
at the
age
Pollard, there were
restrictions
age restrictions and stuff for my daughter, yeah.
Yeah, no, but it could be college. You're right, I mean, it could be just a part-time person. Okay,
Yeah.
any more for,
Well, I've got more, but I'll save it for 2 weeks from now.
Oh, okay.
Okay, are you sure?
Why?
Okay.
Now's the time.
I know.
Specifically, do you guys have any questions? The, awarding of the bid is tomorrow. Did you get a chance to review that stuff specifically?
Yeah, I'm not there yet.
Oh, well, he had just mentioned it in his update.
Yeah,
Sorry.
okay, that's okay, but I guess we can skip it, we could skip Parks Board update real quick. So, the resolution to award the wastewater system improvement project, it is up for action. Does anybody have any questions on it?
Nope.
Okay, I mean, it's
No.
pretty straightforward, right, so,
Okay, before
okay, so we're good on that. Parks Board update.
Okay, Mike talked about the deal at Van Dyke Park. Marv Keller came before the board to ask for, blessings to apply for the historic preservation for Finn Park and Lions Park. And we talked about that for a long time, and it was approved unanimously, but there was, they're gonna try to hook Lions Park in with High Bug, because it's still in the neighborhood, and that's easier. Then Finn Park will be alone, or if there's some way to get it in with Finn Town, which doesn't have the distinction that High Bug has, or the, you know, the
Designation.
designation, but anyway, we all voted for it. The designation does not mean anything special, it's just a designation. And people can still, if they want an ice rink, they can have an ice rink. It's not gonna,
Did he say why you would do it, then, if there's like, what would be the point of, what are the pros of doing it, I guess?
I think the pros are, it's probably a better word than this, but like a prestige kind of thing. It makes it,
Recognition.
recognition,
Yes,
that's
but
the word.
there's a mental recognition, there's a recognition that just adds one mental step before you go there. I will add that Jeremy from Land Use and Planning sent out a letter, sent everybody and asked them, in fact, that question you just asked, the why,
Yeah,
was on that, and I believe, Roger, you were included on that
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
And I think we can get a sign, which is nice for everyone to read about the history of the Lions Park. And Marv had a great slideshow showing the park from 1903. It looks exactly like it does now, except for that's not the spin-off over by the basketball courts wasn't there. You would go straight to Gretchen. Yeah, you go to Gretchen's house and take a right. There was no,
yeah.
and so the park included the triangle and the street, which is, but it's looked the same for 120 years, so it was a good show. Okay, the other thing that happened, the Beartooth Trails asked to use some of the grant money to do a new master trails park, a grant for trail master plan.
Which grant money from the tourism?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the quote, Nick wasn't there, but the quote I heard was he needed some money. I had two problems with that, and it was too vague, and I'm gonna vote against vagueness forever. It's like $5,000, $10,000, because that's a limited amount of money they're using, and I wanna know how much is being spent as we go. And then the other problem I had with it was, what was the other problem? I can't remember.
But did it pass the park
It
board?
passed, but of
Okay.
course it passed
Okay.
me, I'm always the no
Okay,
vote.
so it was like,
It was,
by the way.
but I did,
And to be clear, the money, and correct me wrong if my memory's off on this, Ann, the money is not coming from the city, so the city's role will be in adopting the parks plan. Like, to think about a master plan or
Right.
parks plan or
A trail
road
plan.
policy,
It's-
our role will be to adopt
it's the grant
it
money,
when
I
it's
said
done.
that, but
Yeah.
how much of that money's been spent? That's what I wanna know, and how much do they need? He said some money. That's no good.
Maybe he said 20,000.
Not at Parks Board, he said some money.
No, I think he said 20,000.
Well, he wasn't there, Nick wasn't there.
When they read that letter that he wrote, it was 20, I remember the comprehensive trail plan.
Well, anyway, it passed, and, that was it.
So the grant money's still open and available for
Well,
people to ask for?
evidently, they can switch it to other
Well,
things.
part of
That was my other
the,
question.
part of the grant money was to go to the Beartooth Trail for the cross-country skiing, to buy the snowmaking machine for the cross-country skis. You know, and I don't know enough about it on how it can be switched or not, or if this is just it's a project that qualifies apparently for tourism-related dollars.
I'm not voting against the plan, I'm voting against the process of the vagueness of it, and I would like to have those questions answered. How, can they take that money from one project to another? And then, you know.
You would just want to go to one of those, because we have no role other than a seat at the table.
Well, good information to know.
Anyway.
Because I'm not aware of how they can spend the money either. I'm
No,
not
I
on the
have to.
board.
I
Yeah.
don't.
But,
Yeah, go ahead.
Sometimes a no vote
Okay.
just gets people's attention.
Roger, go ahead.
You know, I can appreciate what Ann is saying. It'd be nice to know how much a grant would cost, or how much the plan would cost, and, you know, what the balance is left within the grant. But it is money is awarded to them. The grant was awarded to them. And I don't think it's much different in a way. Mayor, maybe you can correct me on this, but the part of that tourism grant that goes for the ice skating rink, the initial, grant application identified Lions Park as a site for the ice skating rink. As discussions developed, they were pretty much instructed to look at an alternative site, which is now up at Airport Road on Brewery Hill. I think the PAR that they've hired somebody to do the PAR to look at both sites to come up with which site would, you know, probably be the best site. I think that PAR is being paid by the grant too, isn't it?
Correct.
It's not
Yes.
being paid by the city. So
Right.
I think there's some flexibility within that grant that allows them to do some planning, you know, work that allows them to do that, because that was never the intention of the grant from the first place, was to compare two different sites. So I don't think this is any, you know.
There's a lot of planning stuff that was specified, that's what it's for, is the planning and doing it, and
Yeah,
so.
and so I think I think that there's sort of a precedent set, in some manner with how Lions Park and the site up on Brewery
I'm
Road.
trying to think if I can find the date. I'll find out when the next date is and try to let you know, Ann. Just so that you can go to that, because that's the folks to ask on that.
Well, yeah, I just want to know how much money is left from that 1.5 million. And I know it's not our problem, but they came, you know, they sort of sprung this thing on us on November, at our first meeting in December. We didn't know anything about it, all of a sudden it just fell in our lap.
Yeah, and Mike might be right about the 20K. I don't remember that part of it, but I can certainly ask Nick if he's got an estimate.
Well, each one of those groups got a certain amount of money, and if they spend it, I mean, it's their share's gone. So that's how, you know.
The grant is for a specific amount of money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
1.5.
Right, but each group in there, in that presentation was allotted so much money.
I don't know that how hard and set that is. I think they can,
But they
check with them.
can't really, like, go and spend the chamber's planning
yeah,
money.
thinking.
I think they have done some of that.
Oh,
Some
have
of
they?
the projects
Okay.
were heavier in the early stages.
Okay,
So like the bathrooms down at the Roosevelt,
yep,
they spent some of that money, and the others weren't using it this year for construction costs, so they did
Okay.
do.
they did, they were able to.
Their budget is kind of like our budget, they're allowed to shift and schedule
Okay.
it, but
Well,
the
that's good to
total,
know. I
the total
didn't know
can't
that.
change.
Okay, no, that's good to know, I didn't
Yeah.
know that, I thought they were, like, stuck. So, I will not say that again.
Okay, well,
Okay, all right. Okay, anything else from Parks Board?
Nope.
Roger, do you have any other comments since you're here as well?
Yeah, covered it all.
Okay. All right, ordinance 973, first amended, change this to the solid waste ordinance up for action by full council tonight, or tomorrow night, sorry.
No, you even did that all day.
I know, like, I just want to get council over with.
Yep.
It's
Yes.
good. Get this done. Has everyone had a chance to read through that?
I'm gonna reread it, but I did read it the last time, with
Okay.
Dennison's comments, right? Or
Yeah,
Dennison's
yeah,
update.
I mean, it's,
I need to
I
read
think
it.
it has all the changes in it that we requested. It passed Dennison's approval. and Danae's, and hopefully Mike.
Good.
So,
What do you
like,
think? I see your wheels
I think I've said
spinning.
it before,
yeah.
this is the one that gives people an opportunity to waive their garbage can.
Not with
I
garbage,
think it's-
only if they want to.
I feel like it's a bad idea.
Okay.
I'm on record.
Thank
But-
you for sharing.
No,
You're here tomorrow night.
I guess.
I bought a
I'm
magnifying
on
glass.
record, that's tomorrow night, too.
I'm
For
requesting.
Dennison's right, I know exactly.
Yeah, and I mean,
No.
a full council
I mean,
is
you're,
fine with it
you're
coming out.
changing the ordinance for one person.
Well,
That's
yeah,
not a good idea. You know my opinion.
I know. No, I appreciate it, I do. I will say, when I talked to Danae about it, she didn't think that there would be very many that would actually, you think there'll be more than, that have two garbage, that are paying for
If
two garbage
we
cans?
start having winters like last winter and you see VRBO sitting empty, they're gonna wanna not have a garbage can.
No, they still have to have one. They have to have at least one. The only time you can get rid of it is if you're being charged for two. And you have an ADU and there's nobody in that ADU that's living there.
She's a specialist now.
Only
She
time.
is.
That's the only time you can, like, go to the city and say, I'm getting charged for two garbage cans, I'm not using, it's sitting vacant, there's nobody there, it's not a short-term rental.
You have to prove it.
Can't
From
be
my
a
spot,
short-term
from my
rental.
spot in my peanut gallery, I'm hearing two people say about the same thing.
Yes.
I'm hearing one person say, oh, Danae says she doesn't think we'll have more than a half a dozen of these. And I'm hearing Mike say, you
I know.
don't make regulations for one or two people. So,
Loopholes.
You're both saying the same thing.
We are,
just to
yes,
point out.
yes. Well, and I mean, honestly, I am not stuck on this. If full council says we just want to take that out, I'm okay with that. I just thought we should give people the option if they're paying for an extra can and they don't need two garbage cans. But
And did you say
So they are
other
paying for it,
communities?
they have two water services.
no, it's just if they have to have one can per residential unit. It doesn't matter how many water services they have. So it's just if they have two residential units on the same lot and they even have one water sewer service, they still have to have two garbage cans.
So that is one change that I think is a good change, is you're
Yeah.
changing it to residential units as opposed to counting water meters.
Right. So we'll
That's-
pick
and
up
that's a
some
good-
that way. We will pick up some that way, if you have two ADUs and one, it doesn't matter if you have two water services or not, you're gonna have two garbage cans. Oh, okay. Anything else on that
I'm
one?
ready to move on from the garbage can.
The garbage,
Okay.
in the garbage for a
All right.
while.
Okay, next, okay, so any review priorities, projects, and anything else in the future that you all know that's coming up?
I have one thing that I will share. I got a call from a council member, and it's gone, so we're gonna go with my memory, but my memory's gonna be good. There was an understanding that it was no longer possible to get water at Town Pump. I went and talked to Town Pump and found that information is actually not correct, that there is a water stand over by the,
It just said
Dump.
it used to have a sign that said not
and,
potable
well, and there
water.
has a sign on it, and it's been taped over that part that does it. What
Yeah.
they did do is they shut off the, sides of, the taps on the sides of the building. So to give you an idea, and part of that was because it was farmers using that, and it was also mentioned that Bridger has a city-owned bulk water system. They just put a meter on there so that they can charge for it rather than doing off the honor system. They were able to use the, ARPA funds, cost them $42,000 to put a meter on there so they can charge for water. They were able to do that because it's somebody else's water. Now, the flip side of that is they've made $49,000 since a year ago January when they put that in.
Wow.
Wow.
But I don't know, so what I can tell you from a city standpoint, my preference is, I would prefer to see that continue to be addressed by the private sector.
So,
I would also prefer the electric, free gas pumps, if you drive an e-vehicle, were either metered or handled by the private system. So this just starts expanding services. If the city is getting into services that we don't,
right, so you went back in, because you never did respond back to me. You went back in and talked to Town Pump after we hung up, and they said that it is potable water out
Yes,
there,
yes.
and people can use it to fill their water tanks for their RVs.
For their RVs.
Okay.
Yes.
By the-
They are not doing anything to stop it.
Okay, so it's just been a misconception then because it used to say for cleaning only or something like that on that little sign.
Well, if you go
so
look at the
people-
sign, you can still read through the tape
Right.
off part.
Yeah, you sent it to me.
But it's a single water system. Now, having said that, if folks start abusing that, $49,000 of water is a lot of water.
Yeah,
And I didn't, when I was talking to Kirsten, I didn't find out what their rates are. I can tell you that I'm not inclined to, like I said, to jump
No,
into a new business.
my only concern, and Sherry's only concern with the chamber, is that we didn't think that there was anywhere in town where people could get water for their RVs.
Yep.
Unless you were staying at like KOA or at Perry's, you know, that there was not a place to fill up.
And-
So
and-
that's all we were concerned about, and because we used to have a dump station at the chamber, and people could get water there.
So let me
And-
let my inner Mike come out for a minute. So if we didn't have any gas stations in town, would the city be responsible for putting up a gas station and selling gasoline?
I don't think that would be an issue, because people, I mean,
Was that a good inner Mike? Did I do it right there?
that's kind of like apples and oranges there, completely.
What about the electric chargers? We have a private business that has electric chargers. Why do
But
we
do
do that as
they
a city?
do they let other people hook up to them, or do you have to be staying at that hotel to use them?
Is that the municipality's issue?
It is when our economy is tourism, and we want to have tourism infrastructure for people in these situations. I'm not opposed to putting a meter on those,
I wasn't either,
At
but
all.
I got the bill for $42,000.
but the meter for the electric?
I think it was, the reason we don't have a meter there is because of the cost of that. Do you remember what the cost was to put a meter down there?
You really want it to have a lot of use, because you have to have a cell phone hooked to it for you're gonna use the little cards.
Right.
And, I looked into it in Shoto we had a bulk water place, and we would sell a lot of water, but it was mostly out-of-town people that had cisterns.
Right. We're getting more and more of those.
And we were gonna put our bulk water was old school, they put quarters in, then it gave you water, and we looked at putting in the credit card system and decided it was too expensive. Just didn't pencil, so we just make people bring quarters. And
So, yeah, so, I mean, I just saw our bill for the meters. It was $272 for the month, for last month.
and for which, they don't get used that much.
For the,
EV?
for the EV station.
By the library?
So I think it'd go along, to pay for a $45,000 meeting, I know. So,
10 plates.
yeah, I know. I don't know, I guess that's just it's something we can talk about, but,
That was a homework assignment that I had been given by
Yeah.
council, so I just wanted to relay that
you can
information.
say you were
along.
given, it was Jody, but you don't have to put it all in full council. It was me. But,
I think it's good
I mean,
to have
those were put
water.
in, I believe with the grant money, I'm sure the city had a match, and it was supposed to be part of tourism infrastructure with the EV cars coming into town. So, you know, we tried last year or the year before to get solar there, so it wouldn't cost the city anything, but the cost of the solar was gonna be so outrageously expensive, we decided not to do that, so.
To stay competitive,
So,
and tourism
yeah, so
towns have to have.
there's and all those questions are worth, and I agree that the business of Red Lodge is tourism, and that we need a tourism infrastructure, but I also agree that not everything is the municipality's responsibility,
No.
if for no other reason than funding.
And I agree with that as well. If there's a private entity that wanted to set up an EV charging station and start charging for it, yeah, pull them out. But we don't have that right now. I think you have to
Or do an
stay-
MOU and let them run them from right there.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have to be moved, that's because I was looking at
Yeah.
even if we were to do a meter, I'd rather do it someplace where it's already there than us set up a new
Yeah.
shop.
Yeah, and if someone wanted to, I'm very happy that people can still get water from town pumps. It is an issue if people can't fill up their tanks after, if they've been up camping or going through Yellowstone. It just is.
And they can, but I guess the part of it is, the reason there wasn't a paper trail, but the institutional remembrance
Mm-hmm.
was that they shut off all the building ones that are attached to the building.
Yeah,
And it was because they were getting used and abused by the cisterns out of town
yeah.
and stuff, and that was driving bills up.
I mean, and that is, I was asked, why doesn't the city sell water, for that purpose, have a bulk water sale type of thing? But that would
Keep
be.
our eye open for $42,000 grants.
Yeah, well, and that would also be up to, our public works director on whether or not he feels we have that capacity to start selling that amount of water, because the amount of people who have cisterns and as wells, have to go to that way because we're losing groundwater, and we have groundwater, so, that's a whole other story.
Usually put in like a RV water station, like for summer only, like in Rotary Park or something.
There used to be one
It
there.
wouldn't be hard.
Yeah, I was gonna say, wasn't
A
there?
bulk water
That's
station, that'd be a pretty big deal.
Well, and that's kind of what, Danae's thing was, we don't give away water.
Yeah, for cost was it?
No.
No?
Yeah.
I was gonna say, having traveled in March
Mm-hmm.
in Arizona, I used a lot of water stations,
Yeah.
because you're always looking for water when you're traveling.
Yeah.
And we may not give away water, but we do give away electricity.
That was my point, we do give away electricity.
$2,500 a year, $25,000 in 10,
Yep.
it adds up.
Did you have to pay for water?
Yep, quarters.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
Even
That was
recently?
the old system.
I know, again.
A little
shed.
And they even, so Bridger previously had just a meter, so like if we just had a regular meter, you wrote down the start number, you wrote down the end number, but it was basically the honor system to go pay for it. But even if you miss some, you gotta miss an awful lot to make up for the $42,000, and that was for a system that was already built in to switch from writing down the meters just to go to a card.
And these were just sheds with water storage in them and a quarter vending machine. And
Did all those same places have the gray water? Because again, that's another service, but I'm sure glad somebody else provides it.
no, it was just, they were water stations for anybody and everybody to come and get water.
Rod, how
Fill
much
5 gallons
would a quarter buy?
5 gallons.
5 gallons.
And people were standing in line, and if you filled up your jug, you just handed it to the next guy, they finished the 5, and then they put their quarter in.
Oh,
Just get past it down the road.
no, I'm definitely not opposed to doing that. I don't think we should give away water either.
I said, my preference, I would like to see Town Pump institute a metering and charging thing if they're worried about something to do it, but I'd love to see them continue doing it rather than
Yeah.
us.
Well, as long as
Getting
it's
into the
available,
line of business.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But as soon as they turn it off again, we're gonna be right back where we
They've
were.
got some serious liabilities using their washout hose for fresh water supply. There's some cross-contamination going on there.
I think that's why that sign was up there, was because
Yeah.
the water's always been potable with city water, but I think people use that hose for
They
things.
stick it in the,
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine, it's fine.
I would never fill water there.
Well, they took the hose off, so you have to hook your own hose up now. There's no hose off.
Oh,
So you have to hook,
That's a
you
good
have-
idea.
you have to hook your own hose
there's a
up.
solution.
So, yeah. Not to say that germs can't,
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's better than the other.
Okay, well, thank you for that, okay? Is there any public comment?
Can we talk some more about sewage?
I know, garbage.
Steve Wright, yeah, Red Hot. I would like to be a citizen volunteer that would like to possibly work with the Public Works Department on a park that's right next to us. I don't mind pulling weeds, but I'm not sure if I can actually do that, without approval.
Yeah, you know, if you wanna go over there and pull weeds, I don't think anybody in public works.
I just wanna feel good about it.
Be formalized,
Well,
official.
I know Willie's getting up there this week, I talked to him this evening.
We're gonna mow,
He's gonna probably do a lot of weed whacker or something, I'm not sure.
we've stopped mowing.
Yeah, I think he's gonna see how his mower fits on that, assess it, and either weed whack or mow. I'm not sure.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But no, you're more than welcome to pull weeds, we don't deter weed pulling by anyone.
Any other public comments?
No, thank you.
Any public comments online? Anybody on there? No.
Nobody online, Madam Chair.
Okay, all right, meeting adjourned. Thank you for that. Thank you all.